Hey, this is Tom Hart from MOA Precision. Just going to do a quick disassembly and reassembly demonstration here for the Stoeger Model M3000. The instructions in general will also apply to the Breda, Benelli, and Franke trigger groups. The first thing to do is remove the lifter, plunger, and spring. Pull it towards the rear while controlling it. Move it to the side and pull it out. The next thing to remove is this D-ring on the outside of the tube. Be very careful not to lose this part. You can use the tip of your fingernail to rock it outwards. Remove the D-ring. Before removing this tube, you have to release the tension on the hammer. So disengage the safety, restrain the hammer with your thumb, and lower the hammer. When you push this tube out, it will release this plunger, so be careful not to launch it across the shop. Hold the plunger down with your thumb and control it, and then relax the tension. You can then remove the hammer, plunger, and spring. You can remove the cartridge release lever and the tube. That will also free the hammer and the lifter assembly. The next thing to do is to remove this riveted pin. On the Benelli and Franke models, this pin is not riveted and will fall out. For the Stoegers, because the tip is riveted in, you will need to remove it very carefully not to break the lever. I've made this fixture. Could also be duplicated out of a block of hardwood. All you need is a shallow 13/64 hole to drive the pin into, which will support the backside of the lever so the lever doesn't break. Save the pin for your new lifter, and you will be reusing the lever. You can set the lifter aside at this point. To remove the rest of the components from the trigger guard, the next thing to remove is the trigger cross pin, which also retains this spring. Be careful not to lose control of the spring when driving this pin out. The punch is retaining the spring. I'll control the spring while I remove the punch. That also frees the trigger assembly. Set that pin aside. In order to remove the safety, the spring and plunger are retained by this cross pin above the safety. Drive the cross pin out. Cover the hole with your thumb when you remove the punch to avoid losing the spring. The spring and the plunger can then be tapped out of the hole. That will free the safety for removal. At this point, all that's left is the lifter stop travel limiter, the trigger stop travel limiter, and the lifter spring retainer plate. It can be levered out. Be careful to note the orientation. The hole will be towards the bottom and towards the center line of the trigger guard when you remove it. Reinstall it in the same orientation. There you have it. All the components are removed from the old trigger guard.